Now, the RAV4 plugin can come in 3 different variations, and this one is the middle tier, and I think that is the best value for money you will be getting amongst our 3 different variants for a plug-in RAV4. My name's Aiden with Upper James Toyota, and today we're going to be taking a closer, in-depth review to see if the price you are spending to get into this trim level RAV4 is worth $1. If you guys are in the market for a new or used vehicle, do not forget to click the link in the top of our description. All right, now I've already done a review for a plug-in RAV4 before on the channel. However, this is going to be the middle package. So the packages for a plug-in RAV4 would go SE as your base, XSE, which is this one in front of me, which is the middle grade, and then XSE technology package, that is your fully loaded option. Now, if you're jumping from bottom tier to middle tier, so SE to XSE, that price jump is around $4,800. Again, remember, we are in Canada. This is not US pricing. Then if we're jumping from this middle tier XSE to the XSE technology package, it's about a $5,300 price jump. Now, obviously you look at the differences between package to package to package, that's a significant price jump. And I think this one here in front of me is the best value for what you are getting. Now, of course, there's gonna be a few things I wish it had, but definitely when I look at that price increase, I would not be spending $5,300 to be getting basically 2 features that I would like in this one, which is here in front of me today. Now, starting up front versus the base package SE. I love the fact that your LEDs are vertical mounted for your fog lights. You can get different options on a regular RAV4 hybrid, the non-plug-in side of things, and you can be getting just your typical circular fog light, but I do love the fact that these vertical LEDs definitely change the front look of this vehicle immensely over, not having them or just the standard fog light on, say, an XLE Premium. Now, I will be saying one thing, which is a common theme around our RAV4 hybrids. If you're looking on just the typical RAV4 hybrid non-plug-in version, that would be the L line. So that's gonna be including LE, XLE, XLE Premium, and then obviously, your Woodland and Limited. This black trim piece around, I would say, your front bumper, your side skirts, around your wheel wells, it is a matte black plastic. And I love the fact on the S line, which would include your SE, XSE, and XSE technology package, which are the same 3 variants for this plug-in version. I love the fact that you get gloss black. I think it just makes the vehicle look a little bit more premium and less cheap like that is on the L line. Again, that's just a preference. I still like the L line, but if I'm gonna take the matte or the gloss, I like the gloss a little bit more. Now, talking about just the look of the outside of this vehicle, that's where things are very different versus a base package. The base package is actually only offered in 3 colors here in Canada. However, you move to the XSE or XSE technology package, you are up to 9 color choices. So that is quite a few. And this is featured in one of my favorite, which is split silver with your black roof. I think that with your wheels and having the black and silver accents in these nice premium looking alloys, I think that's a really cool feature that, Toyota offers this split color configuration between, an everyday vehicle just like your RAV4. Now, I'm gonna touch upon a few other things I like about the outside, then I'm gonna be touching on some things on the inside. Now, I love the fact with the RAV4 plug-in, you obviously have different variations of how you want to drive it and also how you can recharge it or fuel it up. So obviously, there are 2 different ways this vehicle runs. There's the battery side of things or the gas combustion engine, and I love that middle ground for someone who's, say, wanting to do more, city driving while consuming less gas and maybe using obviously some of their daily commute as a full electric commute, which you can do in this vehicle, but someone that also still wants the versatility of having that gas combustion engine because they do trips up north and they don't want to install a charger or have to stop and charge the vehicle for every long road trip that they do. So I do think this is a really good sweet spot for someone who's wanting to go full electric but isn't really quite there yet. This would definitely be my #1 pick if I was in between 2 options, you know what I mean? So I love the fact that obviously one side of it, you're going to have your charging side, which is might I add, a very, very large, I want to say gas cap, but it's obviously not a gas cap, it's a charging cap. And then you have your fuel on the other side. Now, the thing that I'm going to talk about that I like the fact that they've kind of kept that theme, which I mentioned on the front, I'll mention on the back. I love the use of gloss black on the rear of this vehicle. I just think it looks a little bit more premium than, you know, the matte black. That's just my simple opinion on it. I don't think, you know, the matte black looks bad or the matte black plastic looks bad. I just would prefer the way this is configured. I also love the fact that I have done a previous video on the XSE technology package, and that was on a 2024 and what they used to call the plug-in RAV4 Prime. Now, a couple things I didn't like about it. Number one was the Prime badge. It used to be down here and it was written in this massive red lettering. And a lot of people didn't understand, Aiden, what does Prime mean? That was just Toyota's version of basically saying this is a plug-in. Well, now they've gone away from that. They now call the new 2025 RAV4s, gone is the Prime, now is just RAV4 plugins. They've made it actually very simple and very user-friendly for any consumers coming new to, say, Toyota manufacturer, that they know that is the plug-in variant. Or you could look down low here and you can see PHEV plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. I like the fact that they've changed around that logo, and I do like the fact they've also changed around this badge on the vehicle too. So typically our old hybrids used to have this little bit of blue on our badging. That is our old logo we used to use. Now we are slowly transitioning out from those blue logos and going into this just generic Toyota silver or chrome logo, which I think looks good on most of our vehicles in our lineup. Alrighty, now let's take a closer peek onto the inside of a RAV4 Prime. I'm gonna start off with the seats because I think that's a really cool talking point around this vehicle. Now, this is the only way the vehicle can be spec'd. You cannot select a different color leather. You cannot spec it to a different, you know, stitching on the vehicle. This is how the seats come, and this is actually a pretty cool thing that the vehicle comes standard with, in my opinion. I think that, you know, amongst our entire lineup, there's only a few different variations of colors you could be getting. On the RAV4 side of things, that's a limited version. You can get beige, gray, or black. I like the fact this is just a little bit different than your everyday solid black interior. Now, I know what Toyota was doing because with that red Prime logo, like I mentioned, that used to be on your rear trunk, I like the fact that obviously that tied in to the inside of this vehicle. So kudos to Toyota for kind of, you know, I guess intertwining something on the outside to the inside, which we don't see a whole lot of. Now, I was talking price point when I originally started off this video, and I think that this bang for your buck on this trim level is exactly where I think people would go. If you want leather, you don't want anything fully loaded, this is such a good option around this plug-in variant. However, I will say, obviously between the three different variations of this vehicle, those are significant price jumps. You go from $4,800 to this one, and then from this one to $5,300 more, and you're fully loaded. There's a couple things I wish this one had, but do I think spending that price jump of $5,300 is worth it? I'm really not too sure. Now, the only few things I'm gonna complain about that I just wish I could put in this one. Number one, you already know I'm gonna say, panoramic sunroof. The XSE technology package is the only RAV4 in this generation of current RAV4 that you can get spec'd with a full panoramic sunroof. Now, this one has just your regular, you know, retractable sunroof. Cool, but I love the fact that on the XSE technology package, that is standard. And obviously, rumor has it on the new 2026, that is going to be offered on some variations. And I'm really crossing my fingers that is true, because I think this is just lacking that feature. And I know consumers are wondering why Toyota has not added that. With that being said, two other things I wish they had. Number one is a larger screen. I think the 12.3-inch touch display, which is standard on a limited or the XSE version of this vehicle, the limited obviously being the hybrid or gas model, I think that would be, you know, a feature I would assume is standard, you know, getting into a vehicle at this price point for sure. I think the smaller screen, yes, I do like the fact that it's the newer screen. Toyota did change up screens on this vehicle after 2023. They're more responsive, a much clearer backup camera, definitely more user-friendly, but I just think at this price tag, not having that bigger screen is just kind of strange. And the last thing is going to be a JBL sound system. I would love if this vehicle had it. Standard sound system, still pretty good. But again, I just think with that price difference of what I'm spending, I don't know if I would spend that extra $5,300. And it's kind of funny because, when I go over these videos and I look over, different ideas to do and things to talk about, I always look around our entire lineup because I'm just very honest with customers that I'm actually not too sure if there's any other package or trim level on our entire lineup that I'm actually so torn on than this current vehicle. I really think sound system, sunroof, and the screen, those are my top three, I would say, for any vehicle. And the fact that that's what I'm kind of facing on this one with a $5,300 price jump. Mind you, that's before tax, that's before everything. That's pretty substantial. So I really don't know if I can justify it. I thought I would know an answer when I was actually doing this and going over. I really am undecided. And if I'm undecided, I always go off of one thing my mom always told me, that if I don't love it, I'm never gonna buy it. And I use that same thing for stuff that I'm gonna wear, stuff that I'm just purchasing out and about. And with that price jump, I really think I'm gonna come to the conclusion, I don't think I'd spend that. I think it's just too much for 3 features that I think are gonna be changed into the 2026 model year. Definitely stay tuned because that's gonna be a good RAV4. All right, now to wrap things up on this vehicle, I'll talk over a couple important numbers. Number one is going to be fuel efficiency. Combined between highway and city, one of these bad boys will average 6 liters per 100, which is pretty good for a vehicle at this size. But then obviously you do have the capabilities of driving this up to about 80 kilometers on strictly EV with a full charge, depending on weather conditions, climate controls on the inside of the vehicle. So definitely a lot of utilization for any user for this vehicle. However, then we get to the price point, and that's where I think this XSE shines versus the other 2 trim levels that you can be getting. This XSE for 2025, and it's the last plug-in version for this current RAV4, comes in at $56,555. Obviously, you add freight and PDI, taxes, any dealer fees, and then obviously any government fees in your province. But I think that's actually a pretty good bang for your buck getting into a RAV4 plug-in version at this current day and age. So you guys let me know down below in the comments what you think. If you did like this video, my name's Aiden with Upper James Toyota. Please do not forget to hit like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future Toyota related content, and we'll check you guys out in the next video.